Thanks for coming out today for the press conference regarding the homicide that occurred in the Oak Park section of the city. With us is Colonel Kenny Cavanaugh, Chief of Police, the Jeffersonville Police Department, and Detective Lieutenant Isaac Parker, who led the majority of the investigation regarding the homicide. Shortly, I'll turn it over to Chief Cavanaugh for an opening statement regarding that incident, and then you'll be able to field questions from Lieutenant Parker as well. Chief.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. I'm Chief Kenny Cavanaugh with the Jeffersonville Police Department. That's K-A-V-A-N-A-U-G-H, spelling the last name. I wanted to speak in regards to the recent homicide investigation that occurred here in Jeffersonville. That investigation was initiated and started there on the 23rd, shortly before 7 a.m. here in Jeffersonville. That occurred, the investigation, in the Oak Park neighborhood. We found that through the course of this investigation that the incident itself did not occur in the Oak Park neighborhood, but the individuals, being the victim in this case and also the suspect, their relationship, those two met in a close proximity of an area. We found that from our suspect that our neighborhood of Oak Park, which is a quiet residential area, he chose to place the victim there at that location. So from the onset, this investigation that we were faced with, and the challenge of this investigation significantly, was that we had a person being a victim of a serious homicide. Unfortunately, that occurred in our city, but what we're seeing in society now, our victim was placed in that position there without any identification. We had no information at all whatsoever to be able to identify that victim, and we had to work from a deficit position. Sharing with you today, I want to say thank you to our Jeffersonville Police Department Detective Division, Lieutenant Parker, Chief of Detectives Jason Brody. Our team was able to put this together and be able to pursue this, which took us on more than one location outside the city of Jeffersonville. The complexity of this investigation, because of the challenge of not having any knowledge or idea of the victim, but starting from the ground up, of being able to locate the victim, how the victim was actually placed in Jeffersonville, how he came about to be in the Oak Park neighborhood, and then to find the evidence that was recovered that took us over to Louisville, Kentucky, and to be able to pursue that evidence, it was some of the significance of a challenge that what we had to face. So I want to give a special thanks to the Louisville Metro Police Department. Specifically, I want to give thanks to that homicide unit that took the time, which they're faced with the challenges they have in their community. They were able to assist and work with the Jeffersonville Police Department Detective Division, and I want to say thank you to Chief Shields. Also to Lieutenant Burbrink that took the time to assist us with getting some things organized to be able to pursue this investigation and go along that lines. What I want to speak of in regards to at this time here, I want to share the information back to the Oak Park neighborhood. For that neighborhood to know and understand that because of who you are, being a quiet neighborhood, our suspect chose to take the opportunity with the victim and place that victim there at that location. You know, how each and every community responds to deal with this, when I say to deal with this, the incidents of violence that we're seeing all over the country and all over our society, is really a testament of what we are in our community policing efforts. Our relationship that we have with our citizens here in Jeffersonville, that we were able to get information back and people to be able to reach out to us to want to work with us. Also, when we went across the state lines and we went into also a neighboring city as well as Clarksville, we were able to cultivate and get information that brought us to a closure point to be able to identify a suspect in this case, and then also then we moved to the Asheville, North Carolina area. And again, the relationship of community policing, but being able to have confidence and trust persons, individuals in our city, but also outside, and the relationship. I want to thank those who are involved that were able to assist us with this investigation. Also, special thanks to the Asheville Police Department, because once we were able to find with the information and evidence that led us of the identity who the suspect was, we had to coordinate resources when the suspect then started to flee and return back to the area where he was initially wanted from for attempted murder charges back to Asheville, North Carolina. So in culmination of the message of what I have here today, I wanted to share, again, back to the Oak Park neighborhood area of you being your neighborhood of who you are. Unfortunately, it made us it was a target, and the nexus was to put the victim there in this situation and place the victim in that neighborhood area. And from that point, we were able to, through the course of investigation, to find and reveal that there was not any nexus of anything in Oak Park or any specific person or that area that was a relationship of a cause or contributed to with the homicide investigation occurring. So with those pieces of information that I've been able to present here with you, I want to say thank you for coming out, and I'm going to turn this over to Lieutenant Isaac Parker of the Jeffersonville Police Department Detective Division. Lieutenant Parker handles the daily operations in the investigative division, and he's going to have further detail that's going to provide in our release in regards to the apprehension and bringing Mr. Christopher Tandy for charges to be filed in the Clark County Prosecutor's Office. Thank you.
Good afternoon. As you're aware, on the morning of the 23rd of July, the Jeffersonville Police Department received a call for service near the intersection of Edgewood Lane and Wildwood Road regarding a male who was found unconscious and unresponsive. Patrol officers were able to confirm that the male, later identified as Roderick Wallace, was deceased and contacted the Detective Division, who immediately began an investigation. An autopsy later confirmed that Mr. Wallace suffered numerous gunshot wounds to the head from a small caliber weapon. While processing the area, investigators did not believe the evidence where Mr. Wallace was located was consistent with this being the original crime scene. This was later confirmed when we were able to locate Mr. Wallace's vehicle in the 1500 block of Beach Street in Louisville, Kentucky. The interior of the vehicle was saturated with what was believed to be our victim's blood, and other evidence was also located which supported that the shooting did occur inside of the vehicle. With the assistance of our community, both Jeffersonville and Louisville, Kentucky, we were able to confirm Christopher Tandy as the suspect. It was apparent Mr. Tandy and Mr. Wallace had engaged in a verbal altercation during the early morning hours of July 23rd. They agreed to meet in a parking lot at a nearby apartment complex, and it is believed that this is the location of the shooting. Following the shooting, Tandy took Mr. Wallace's vehicle to the area of Edgewood Lane and Wildwood Road and removed Mr. Wallace from the vehicle. Again, through the assistance of our community, Tandy was located in the Asheville, North Carolina area, and contact was made with their officers to assist in apprehending him. Our investigators spent a portion of the weekend in Asheville working with their agency to further our investigation. The Jeffersonville Police Department Detective Division would like to give a special thanks to LMPD Homicide and their crime scene unit for their assistance. In addition, several residents and businesses, not only in Jeffersonville but also in Louisville, provided cooperation which assisted in Tandy's apprehension. Finally, we'd like to thank the Asheville Police Department for their hospitality and assistance, as well as the FBI Resident Office in New Albany for their continued support and assistance as well. Any questions?
Aside from fleeing you guys, why did he go to Asheville, North Carolina?
We believe he had connections there. At the time, Mr. Tandy had warrants for attempted murder out of Asheville, North Carolina as well. We think that's what led him to this area, and we think that's why he returned back there.
What was their previous relationship? How did they know each other?
We believe it was a fairly new relationship, and believe that it stemmed around narcotics.
I know the court records mentioned that the victim had some drugs and had allegedly left with some drugs. And have those been recovered yet? Do you believe that the suspect was trying to buy them?
Well, there's certain specifics that we're not going to release at this time. It is still an ongoing investigation. It has been a week long, probably 9 days since it occurred, and we are still moving forward with this. There's certain specifics that we won't put out right now.
Was he shot anywhere else, or was it just the head?
Numerous gunshots to the head.
Has the suspect been brought back to Jeffersonville?
As of this morning, he was still in North Carolina. He does again have, he's answering to charges of attempted murder in North Carolina as well.
Do you believe he was killed in the Hallmark neighborhood?
We believe he was, that the shooting occurred in a nearby parking lot of an apartment complex. Anything else? Thank you.
Okay, in closing, I would like to thank our detective division that spent countless man-hours solving this case throughout the last week. As mentioned before, our community, Jeffersonville, is a safe community. It will remain and continue to be a safe community for years to come due to the participation of our neighborhoods, our citizens, and visitors alike. And again, the ability for the police department to partner with sources like the media to get information, factual information out to our residents, and have the neighborhood participation that we do is what makes the city unique and safe for all to live, work, and play. So without that, if you have any questions for me or the chief, we're finished. That'll be it. And you look like you had a question. Did you have a question?
So is this mainly to reassure the community where the body was found that that community wasn't involved? Is that the kind of
I think I know what.
emphasis I was getting?
Right. So one, the press conference was to bring attention to the actual case itself and give as much information as we could pertaining to the case, as also let our residents know that the specific section of Oak Park where crime, as you stated, had occurred, there was no, it didn't occur in Oak Park. It occurred somewhere else. Unfortunately, that's where the victim was located. And that's where our investigation began. As you can see, it didn't end there. It ended in North Carolina with the assistance of City of Asheville Police Department, and where the suspect was located and captured. So again, it's to reassure and bring the information to our community that they need through our media outlet and resources that we have with you all. I thank you all for coming and providing that information to them. And it brings closure to those residents as well. And that's very important for both of us in this business. So,
One last question, sorry.
Yes, sir.
Since the original crime occurred in Louisville, will he be facing charges in Louisville as well?
the original crime did not occur in Louisville. The crime occurred in Jeffersonville. The homicide occurred in Jeffersonville. There's a secondary location where the body was located from where the original crime occurred. There was an aspect in Louisville where the vehicle was taken there. So that would be the Louisville connection, and when we reached out to them, they were more than willing to help us and assist us with their investigation. And then you have another location, obviously, where the suspect was captured and placed into custody. So it's a very broad area.
So when you look at this from the point of we speak of the complexities of the investigation, we had the victim being located here in Jeffersonville, but working through the investigation, and I know there were some questions about information getting out, you see that we had the victim that was just here without any identification. So this was much, much complex in being able to move. There was a period of time, and I want to applaud our detective division of working investigators around the clock. When I say working around the clock, that date that it occurred on the 23rd and then the 24th, I left our investigators, and they were in the process of executing warrants. I was able to assist them and just deliver some documents back out to them. And at 4 a.m., I was leaving from them, and they were still, at that point in time, they were working. So, and we were just working through bits and pieces, trying to get the investigation where we're moving through. But then we knew that we had a vehicle to locate, and the vehicle later was located on that same date. Our investigators, when I caught back up with them, they were already back in Louisville, Kentucky at that point in time, then with the vehicle located, after leaving another location being outside the city of Jeffersonville over in Clarksville. So the complexity of this and time, and I know there was question about getting information out. It was for us to be able to move, and you're talking at least 3 to 4 days of getting the direction exactly where we're going. All we knew that we had a person here in Jeffersonville. We had nothing in Jeffersonville that we were investigating. We were outside in Clarksville, we were in Louisville, Kentucky, and then we started moving with information then to Asheville, North Carolina. There was nothing. We were Jeffersonville Police Department. We had the gentleman here, so we were trying to find out and ensure if this did occur here in Jeffersonville. We know he was placed in Oak Park and there was no nexus, so we're trying to find out, ensure the surrounding metro area where exactly this was, and we needed to be for certain, for fact and information with procedural justice and bringing this to light. And also we want to be with that procedural justice, we want to bring the right information to the Clark County Prosecutor's Office for those criminal charges, or the appropriate prosecuting attorney's office. So that's what we speak of when you hear procedural justice. You want to be cautious, you want to be careful, you want to ensure that you're doing the right thing, you're getting justice for the victim, you're doing it professionally and appropriately.
Just to clarify, the victim was found again in the Hallmark neighborhood?
No, the victim was located in the Oak Park neighborhood and on the street of Wildwood. And he was placed there.
The belief was he was shot in no.
So there's information through the investigation. I don't want to specifically answer that, and I'll let that get back to Detective Lieutenant Parker.
Thank you.
Please.
So for clarification, the Mr. Wallace was initially located on in the Oak Park neighborhood. That's where he was initially located. We have his vehicle was located in the 1500 block of Beach Street in Louisville, Kentucky, and we believe that the shooting occurred in a nearby apartment complex parking lot in Jeffersonville. Good.